How to Become Tough, Part 3. Welcome back, my friend. I hope you're having a great day. As usual, let's get straight into it. Now, in How to Become Tough, I made 2 videos. In Part 1, How to Become Tough, I mentioned that when you hear about tough motherfuckers, tough guys, all right? Being tough and tough guys are always attached to a story. So in Part 1, I mentioned that in order for you to become tough, you gotta create a story for yourself. And what is the grandest, toughest story you could ever tell about yourself? It's about how you got a grand result out of nothing. Basically nothing. That's all it is. Just doing the best with what you have, with what you can, where you're at. And that's how you know you can be a tough motherfucker. In the end, ultimately, like I said in video number 1, How to Become Tough, when you hear about tough guys, whether it's in the labor field, whether it's in the corporate field, whether it's in real estate, fighting, mixed martial arts, this and that, tough guys are always going to be attached to stories. So understand, being tough, becoming tough will always be attached to a story. So you got to write your own story, right? So in video 2, I mentioned, first of all, you got to be yourself. And then you gotta be valuable. You can't just be this tough dude who just beats up guys in the street, because ultimately, who's gonna value that? Like, yeah, here and there, but in the long run, there's no value to that. I know so many tough dudes. You can shoot them in the leg. You can keep them out for 24 hours. They can drink all the beer, smoke all the cigarettes, but what value is that to society, to anyone? So you gotta be valuable and you gotta be yourself. A lot of people like to put on a mask. You know, throughout my life, of course, I had to put on many masks, mostly because I was extremely introverted. But as Bruce Lee said, man, to express yourself honestly is the hardest thing to do. And you wanna be tough. You gotta get over that hump, man. Just be yourself, be valuable. So create a story for yourself, be valuable, and be yourself. Okay, now in this 3rd video, How to Become Tough, Part 3, this is going to be the most important thing that I give you in my entire channel and throughout this series. This is probably going to be the last How to Become Tough. I had some time to think about it, and there really needs to go beyond any point after this. Okay, you got to understand, you want to be tough, you want to become tough, you're going to be doing all this training, all this meditation, studying all these warriors, this and that, training with this gym, that gym, lifting weights, push-ups, eating good. You're trying to become tough, all right? You got to understand, there's always going to be somebody bigger, badder, smarter, wiser, much more knowledgeable, got more time than you in the game, and much more tougher than you. There's always gonna be someone bigger and badder than you and tougher. And you gotta come to grips with this, okay? Always. I like to call it having your number. Someone's always gonna have your number. Like I said, I studied a lot about spirituality. I dug into many things, especially on the spiritual side and the universe and how this universe works. I have some beliefs, all right? And I've always believed that no matter what you do in this life, someone will have your number. You know, if you can call it karma, okay? But all the tough guys, I've always seen it. Somebody always had their number. If no one ever defeated them on the street, in the ring, in the cage, on the mats, it was always something else that defeated them. Whether it was women, it was their lust for other dark fantasies, drugs, alcohol, being lazy, self-doubt, childhood traumas. There was always something that got them. And you gotta understand, in this day and age, you gotta be sharp. With so much distractions out there, YouTube, Instagram, social media, TikTok, I mean, there's so much things that can get you off your game that you're not even aware about. Me telling you these things could be a distraction to your life, all right? So you gotta understand these things. Being tough, there's always going to be somebody out there who is bigger, badder, faster, stronger than you. And because of that, all right, you got to ask yourself, you got to truly look in the mirror every morning and you got to say, what are you willing to do about that? Now you gotta understand, like I said, for a lot of you who've been around my channel for a while, growing up, I had a lot of Polynesian friends. I wouldn't say I was in the gang life. I was in Hawaii. It's a little different, but you could say I was kind of sort of in the streets. A lot of my friends are Polynesian, my Usos. You got the Tokos, the Tongans, Micronesians, Melanesians. I mean, Chukis, all of them, okay? A lot of them, I used to hang out with a lot of them. And me being Filipino, I'm like, at the time, this was around intermediate school, dude, these Samoans, Tongans, they are way bigger than me. They're like full-grown men, dude. No matter what I did, bench, curls, didn't fucking matter. These guys were always going to be bigger and stronger. And no matter what, somehow Pacific Islanders are built for physical combat, okay? You look at the NFL, dude, Solis, any Polynesian in the NFL is cracking skulls, bro, and breaking bones. That's just what it is, man. And you got to understand. I had to understand this quick. Then when I got into mixed martial arts, same shit. No matter how badass I was, no matter how much I trained, there was always someone bigger, faster, stronger, much more wiser, much more slick with their shit. And that's why I told you guys, fighting is basically two men manipulating each other through footwork, head movement, jabs, feints. That's all it is, man. Faking out the takedowns. Then when I take you down, when we're doing our Brazilian jiu-jitsu, our grappling, you may think I'm going for your legs, but I'm baiting your arm, trying to put you in a kimura. You may think, okay, he got the kimura on, but I know you feel it, so I'm going to go to your head. Once you kind of feel your head, you're going to pull it out, then I'm going to start punching you out. If you move that, then I'm just going to sweep you right out. It's just a game of manipulation. That's all it is. And guys are going to be smarter. Guys like me, okay? You got to understand, because I was always a smaller guy around these big Polynesian Mauso brothers, I had to be much smarter. I had to be much more calculative. I had to be much more manipulative. Sometimes I had to be much more aggressive because, I was always the first guy to get picked on. So right when we get up to a spot, I had to just poke my fucking chest out and start screaming like, fuck these motherfuckers. Who the fuck is... And, I had to start wolfing. That's when I had the mask on, because I was scared. And understand, all the things that you see me shadowboxing, moving and grooving, understand, that was based out of fear, okay? You don't get as good as I am, and you don't move and groove and put the shit on YouTube, jump rope the way that I do, because you're good at it. Understand, there's a big part that fear has driven all of this. Why? Because I always understood that there's someone with my number. Okay, I mentioned this too on my YouTube, that my last fight for a belt, I lost. His name is Eddie Robinaugh, my brother. I mentioned it somewhere in a post, but he's my church group leader. Shouts out to you, Eddie. Love you. No matter what may have been going on, okay, my life at home may have been going to shit. I wasn't training as good. I could have all the excuses in the world. No matter what, on that day, he whooped my ass. That's what it was. And he had my number. And I always knew, like I said, before I got into mixed martial arts, like I seen a lot of street shit. I knew tough guys don't make it. Tough guys who think they're fucking tough and just can beat everybody up, they don't make it. They're either going to go to jail or something else is going to kick their ass. That could be women, money, drugs, laziness, gluttony. Somehow someone got your number. God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the Tao, it's built it in the Tao, the Tao Te Ching. It mentions shit like this. If you're like a warrior like me that studies the ancient scriptures, especially the Tao Te Ching, the art of war, this shit is mentioned in there. You got to be able to read between the lines, but it's mentioned in there. The soft always overcomes the hard. Just like Bruce Lee said, you got to be like water, because he knew guys who are strong and firm and straight a lot of times get broken in half. You got to be like a bamboo. You got to bend with things. Tough guys, they're on trees everywhere. You think you're tough, you think you're a bad motherfucker, there's somebody out there for you, and it's built that way within nature. So my advice to you, all right, like I said, number one, tough guys is about stories. Number two, gotta be valuable to other people. You can't just be tough. Yeah, I cut a motherfucker's ear off. Like, what is that gonna help anyone in the world? It doesn't help anybody. You gotta be yourself. Number 4, someone's always gonna be tougher than you. Understand, you're gonna be putting in all this training. You're gonna be dieting. You're gonna be reading these books. You're gonna be listening to my videos. You're gonna be shadowboxing, jumping the rope, pushing the weights, doing push-ups, whatever it is to make yourself stronger. Kids are always going to be watching. You want to be a badass motherfucker? Teach the next generation. Teach them to be strong. Teach them to defend things that they love. But if they have the chance to run or to use their mouth to correct the situation and use their brain rather than their fist and their shins and their knees and their elbows, teach them that there's another way to this shit. You don't gotta be tough all the time. You ain't gotta fucking grow a mustache, build some muscles, fucking do what I do. And this is what I try to give you through these videos. I was a man who was lost. Just so happily, my fight training got me to a place where, you know, I can be a little chill and I can speak these things now that I got your attention. You gotta do your best to set a good example. To set a good example for the next generation, because these kids are watching. I was a kid watching, and like I said, a lot of these tough guys that I looked up to, they ain't where I want to be, man. Same thing, you know, I worked a lot of labor jobs, as I said in the previous videos. A lot of those guys, they're tough, really good, hardworking guys, but some of these guys are so tough to their fucking stories and to their pride that, you know, when the next level up comes, they don't want to take it. Probably because they don't want to move from where they're at, or it's just the new route, the new level just looks harder than where they're at, so they're just comfortable being where they are. Dude, for me to speak like this, these videos, tell you that I lost my last fight, tell you that, dude, I was like the fucking smallest one, always getting picked on, and the reason why I shadowbox, jump rope the way that I am, all this, I was depressed because of fear. It's tough for me, but I gotta let you know, this is life. This is life. You want to be a tough motherfucker, always understand that somebody's out there waiting for you. They'll be like, yeah, you tough baby boy. So now that you got this information, build your story. What is my story? My story is that I took something that's so violent, yet I used it to build me up to be a better man, to be a better father, to be a better individual to this community. And what did I do? I shared it through YouTube, through Instagram, through TikTok, and I use it to help me to steer my family, my kids, to be better through working out, through diet, through nutrition, through keeping their life in order, cleaning their room, folding their clothes. Once they build up some value in their life, some knowledge, some wisdom, they can share it. They can become a influencer, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But this is how I did it. And I encourage you to go this same route. That's the toughest thing, man. As an adult, you kind of forget that you were once a kid looking up to these tough motherfuckers. And then, you know, now being my age, I look back like, oh, damn, all these tough motherfuckers. A lot of tough motherfuckers did give me good advice. They told me to stay out the streets, go to school, stop fucking around, Chezzy boy. And it's like, I'm about to be 36, I'm 35 now. And I'm taking them up on their advice, man. Believe me, life will fucking pound you to the ground if you think you're tough. Believe me. All right, the best thing you can do is be disciplined, be sharp with your mind, sharp with your body, and do your best to spread positivity through wherever you can spread it, at your workplace, through your phone, through some kind of social media, at your church group, wherever it is that you go. But you got to be the light for this next generation, and you got to be the light for everybody around you, all right? Don't just think you're going to be tough, shadowboxing, look what I can do, I can jump the rope, this and that, I'm going to get 1 million views on YouTube. You got to have a deeper purpose to this, all right? If not, you're going to get all these views, you're going to get the abs, you're going to get all these deals coming up, and it's not going to mean shit to you. Why? Because you know what you're doing, all this toughness, it ain't benefiting anybody but you. Then you're going to be this fucking tough guy all by yourself. You don't want to be like that, bro. We need each other. The universe needs you. The people in your life need you. This park needs you. Somebody got to cut this grass. Somebody got to do what it do, man. Take care of this place for the next generation. And that's how you become tough. Part 3. And with that, just always remember, all right? Train hard and be kind. Let's go.